Good evening, my people. This is another live reaction from Kev Mac. Kev Mac videos. This live reaction is kind of special, man, to the Kev Mac family. Uh, this is OG Pretty Boy. This is his first interview on Kev Mac video. I don't think it did a million views like the Monster Cody video, but it was special. Not just because he has passed away now, but he told some pretty detailed stories, and he did 30 plus years in prison. So y'all check this out. One second, y'all. Let me get to it. All right, y'all. So I believe this is part one. Yeah, this is part one of three of the Pretty Boy interview. Kev Mac. Kev Mac videos. Everybody go over there, subscribe to Kev Mac. Give him a thumbs up. He has three channels. He has the sporting channel. He has the one with the blue Kev Mac sign, and the one with the black Kev Mac sign. Y'all go subscribe to him. Here we go. Yeah, this is Kev Mac's Pretty Boy interview. His first interview of many. Of many of him coming to the channel. I don't like I said. Let me look. Yeah, this one didn't do a million views, but it did fair, and it means a lot to the Kev Mac community. So y'all enjoy this, and Kev Mac, thank you again for letting me react to your videos, man. I appreciate it.
I grew up in LA. I was born in New Orleans, but I grew up in LA. And I used to stay on 76 and second house from the corner next door to Raymond, Washington. And then I ended up coming to the 60s, which was over there on the west side. And I lived on 67 and Western all my life, around the corner from Horseman Junior High.
What years were you on the east side?
Well, that was in the early 70s. And that's where I met Raymond, tell you the truth, Raymond Washington. His mom's Viola, his brother Gerard, And it's funny that one of the homies, Ron, he was like 5 years old when I seen him. And we used to play with him at the edge of the porch. He was going to be my cellie 20-something years later. But I met Raymond. He was coming out the house, and I just moved over there. And he walked up to me, and he said, who are you? I said, I just moved next door. He said, I'm Raymond Washington, leader of the Crips. I said, okay. I already knew who he was, right? But I didn't know I lived next door to him. So every day, he used to always see me, pull me by my shirt tails and say, what you doing, little nigga? And, we had kind of got a...
Man, that's deep, living next door to Raymond Washington, man. May they both rest in peace. They both got interviews on Kev Mac. Go check them out. No, not Raymond Washington, but I'm tripping. Rest in peace, Raymond Washington, and rest in peace, OG Pretty Boy. But yeah, only Pretty Boy has an interview on Kev Mac. My bad. I'm thinking about Monster Cody, which was also close friends with Pretty Boy, also.
Good rapport, and he got me out of an incident one time. I was actually shooting at a CO2 rifle shot out some neighbors' windows. They want to come beat my ass. So Raymond walked out of there, right, and said, "Hey, you got a problem with him?" And they backed down. And I'm kind of glad. 5-6 years older than I was. Hell, I was only about probably 120 pounds dripping wet. So that's how I got my rapport with Raymond. Then I ended up moving to the west side on 67 and Western, going to 74th Street School. And that's where I met all the old homies now, that a lot of us did go to school. A lot of them went to 59. Then a lot of us went to Horseman Junior High. And like, it was a trip because all the 8 trades in the 60s that went to Horseman, we was all friends, but nobody didn't know what the future held between all of us. Nobody didn't know that we were going to be the most tightest gangs in LA and the most strongest gangs in LA, being the most violent later on gangs in LA towards each other, you know? And that's how it happened. But it is what it is, you know. You can't predict the future.
Did Raymond Washington have any influence on your cripping?
Yes, he did. Raymond Washington did have a lot of influence on my cripping because I'm gonna tell you something I liked about him. He wasn't no punk. He wasn't on major swole, but he had a nice build on him. But he'd get down with anybody, anywhere. That's what I liked about him, and that's what I admired about the guy because, I mean, he had this attitude. He didn't even have to say nothing. All you had to do is just look at his face, and you knew he meant business. And it hurt you too. But the last time I actually seen him, before he was killed, 1979 June, we had a funk festival in what's the sports arena, Coliseum. It was a funk festival. All the major funk groups showed up. And that was the last time all the major Crips, before everybody started warring with each other, that's the last time we was all together as one, right there. By then, Tookie had already caught his case. So everybody else was there. That was the last time we all seen each other. And that was about the last time I seen Raymond. Then August 79, he ended up getting killed. And I seen everything getting ready to go bad. After my homeboy Tyrone, Big Rick's brother, got killed, I didn't know that it was going to go from bad to worse to extremely worse. But I remember like
Tyrone was Lil Rick's brother. I think his murder is what started the 8 Trey and Rolling 60s beef. I think I'm pretty sure that's what happened. The fight between them, 1979, I guess. So it was a long beef. Been what, 46 years. It's great beef, man.
it was yesterday. And we thought it was going to end with just give us the guy that actually shot him, and it was going to be over with. We didn't know it was going to turn out like it did. And a lot of guys ended up going to prison. Homies that got killed back then, a lot of young homies now don't even know who they are because it was so long ago. Back then, a lot of us was using fists. A gun barely came out. It rarely that you had to use a gun because everybody was fist fighting. But when everything went wrong with us and the H-Rays and the war got out of hand, it was like an arms race. Everybody had to get something that shot more than 6 times. So after the arms got secured, the hardest part of that war, and nobody never really talked about this, the hardest part of that war was trying to shoot at a person, right, that you grew up with.
Who were some of your first childhood friends on the West Side?
Well, my first childhood friends on the West Side going to school was Shyster, Mumpy, Joe Moncrief, Huey, Babyface, Joe Rat,
those guys all grew up to be pretty much legends in their own neighborhoods. I think they were A-Trade gangsters, some of them that he was naming.
You know, Lunatic Frank, Pie Face.
Was it any older guys that stood out that you might have looked up to?
Now, the older guys that was already over there, you had Michael Conception over that way. You had Cutes, his brother Rusty Mouse. Then me and Cutes ended up hanging out later on, right? Until he ended up falling to his case. And then you had, then by then, Tookie had moved over there. He had moved around. He was staying around in the area of 79th around Dinker. And
69?
yes, I mean, not 79, 69th and Dinker, around there. And so, like I said, you had, who else? My boy, Scody, Big Scody, rest in peace. And a lot of people don't really bring up Scody's name because he was killed a long time ago. But he was another one I looked up to. That was my boy. He stayed around the corner from me. And so you had, like I said, you had a lot of guys over there, right? That made me, I guess, it was like an influence, because later on in life, I fed off that influence. And just like all gang members, right? You want to be number one. And I strive to be number one, no matter what it was.
When did you start running with the gang members on the West Side?
Well, in Horseman, that's when I started really being active. You know, that's when I started really being active in the Horseman. I went to Horseman in started in 70.
Heard Horseman was a crazy heist. Crazy. The gangster, the A-Trades went there. The Rolling 60s went there. And probably all of the surrounding gangs in that area went there. A lot of gangsters went to that school.
273. But that's when I started being active back then. But like I said, everything was reduced to just graffiti, fist fights here, fist fight there. And that's basically it, you know.
What was your Horseman years?
My Horseman years, like I said, I think it was 73 to 75, I think it was. Then I ended up going to Crenshaw.
What was your relationship like with the A-Trade gangsters?
Now, with the A-Trades, we all was tight. A lot of people don't know how tight we were back then. Like, we all had a small crew, you can say, together. It was like me, Shy.
From all of the interviews I watched, and the information I gathered, the Rolling 60s and the A-Trades were close friends back then before that fight.
Mr. Mumpy, Doe-Eye, Rick and them. And the main ones we knew was like Hunchy, Sidewinder, you know, Rayford, that's Sidewinder. Who else? You had Baycott.
How significant was Sidewinder to the A-Trade gangsters?
Oh, Sidewinder, he was very significant because he wasn't no punk. He was out there. Yeah, he was out there. He wasn't no punk at all. He handled his business accordingly, you know. But he was one of the main players. You know, I knew all the main players from the A-Trades back then, you know, that had a name and they built up their name. So you know.
When did you meet Monster Cody?
I met Monster. Actually, I met Monster's brother. We went to Horseman together. And it's funny that it was me, his older brother, and Daryl Ransom, who we call Hoover Sam now. We all was friends in the 7th grade. A lot of people didn't know this. And Monster was a couple of years under me. So he was kind of like real small then. So by the time we met and he started kind of hanging around me, he didn't have his size on him. He was still small. You know what I'm saying? But I already seen, right, that he was getting ready to make an image for himself back then. And me, him, my brother and all, we all became kind of close. But the thing about it is I already seen what was getting ready to go down with him. And he didn't make a name for himself. I got to give him that. And me and him ended up being real close as friends.
I mean, why do you say you knew what type of guy he was going to be?
Because you can basically talk to a person, right? You can talk to a person. If you're not slow and you read the mentals of a person, you can talk to that person, right? And see where that person is going down the line. And I could see the way he was talking that He wasn't gonna try to be no buster. He wasn't gonna try to be no buster. He was gonna make a name for himself. But like all of us back then, right? Everybody had to create their own individual name for themselves. He made one for himself. I made one for myself. You know, he made his out of brutality, beating up people. And I made mine, you know what I'm saying, fist fighting. But my reputation came from behind a Tommy gun. That's what everybody knew me as, you know, knew me for doing. A Tommy gun, a Thompson.
Where did you get the name from?
Watching all them gangster movies. You know what I'm saying? I used to like, you know, everybody said, oh, yeah, you trying to be Pretty Boy Floyd? And I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Nobody else got this name right now. So I rolled with that one. And like you can say that's what really got me in a lot of trouble later on down the line. But me and him started running together. And before you know it, when everybody started slowly separating, as I stated before, when the time came for us to actually go at it with each other, it was hard because, for one, a lot of people don't know, us in the 8 Trades, we all went to school together, so we basically all knew where each other lived. So that's dangerous when you fall out with another set and everybody know where each other live, because you don't have to wait on no street corner. All you have to do is wait for them to come out their house. And when the war got really out of hand, I guess everybody said, hey, one day we're going to have to eventually shoot at each other or actually shoot each other. So one day, like I said, New Year's Eve, Marshall was shot at Western Surplus.
All right, let me stop you for a minute. Let's go back to junior high and you having a friendship with Monster. Was you guys tight or?
No, we were tight.
Okay. You and Monster was tight. What did y'all used to do for fun?
Take people's money.
What about bicycles?
Take bikes too, because he was on a dirt bike. I got to give it to him.
Let me say this one more time. Rest in peace, Pretty Boy. Boy did 30 plus years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. And he didn't cry about it. No, he did that person's time. Got out and got back to it, man. You know, got back to hustling, started doing interviews, and you know, he's been seen everywhere, everybody's funerals and stuff until, you know, he came to his demise. You know, rest in peace, Pretty Boy. Y'all go over there to Kev Mack and check out this interview.
He was the baddest person on that west side on a dirt bike. A boy would bunny hop over on the front end of a car. But he was bad. But we used to do that, take bikes, take people, beat them up. We all catch the bus up to the Fox Hill Mall when it first opened up, jack people for money. And we used to do all types of stuff like that.
When the 60s and 8 Trade ran together, who did y'all bang against?
Oh, when the 60s 8 Trades actually ran together, then we was fighting the Inglewood families by then. We was fighting the Inglewood families, and we was fighting the V&Gs by then.
So at any
You hear gunshots in the background in the middle of this interview.
point, did you and Monster side by side fight or get into it with the Inglewood family?
No, me and him, we never fought side by side. Okay. Yeah, we never fought side by side. He had his luck. Like now you have little cliques that run together. He had his little clique to run together, and just like me, I had my little group we ran together. But for side by side, we never did. But we used to, like I said, we'll meet up and we'll talk, kick it, and things like that. You know, matter of fact, we ended up dating half of the three or four women that I ended up dating, he ended up dating.
So when the war kicked off, how did your friendship work out then?
This is the thing about that friendship when the war broke out, and this I always say this before. It was the thing we used to say back in the days, giving each other a pass when we caught each other. And because it was hard, like I say, to draw down and shoot somebody that you actually ran with, you know, and did stuff with, whether it was bad or good, to just sit up there and say, I'm gonna shoot you now. So we used to give each other passes. Okay, well, next time I see you, or next time I see you, or hey, look, you know, just leave him alone. But I knew eventually the passes was gonna stop. You know, and that was the sad part about it, because it kind of hurt me, because I said eventually one side is going to stop giving passes, and eventually somebody's going to get shot. So when we all finally like got it out of our system
I think the giving the passes days has has pretty much ran out. I don't think they're giving nobody passes nowadays.
about the passes, that's when we start shooting at each other.
All right, y'all. That's the end of that video. I'm gonna try to do part 2 and part 3 tomorrow. Yeah, y'all go over there and subscribe to Kev Mac videos. All 3 of his channels. He got a sport channel, Capping with Kev Mac. He got Kev Mac, the black channel and the blue channel. So y'all go check it out. Thanks, Kev Mac, for allowing me to react to your videos. Appreciate it.